Anyway, I got cut off on the camera because I bumped the stop recording button. But anyway, I need to finish my conversation on this. Uh, Birds pick up on words. Sometimes you can tell them over and over and over words over and over and over again, and they won't pick it up. But for example, if you say one word one time, if he chooses to like that word, it might not have been a word he heard for the first time, but he chooses to repeat it now. So if you ever want to have a bird and you got people in the house that are cussing, it's not a good idea, because then he could say a cuss word at the wrong moment. Now, we do try to keep it, at a clean language, even around him or as people in general, because it's not just good to cuss all the time, It's a bad habit to get into, and with me having ADD, I cuss at the wrong moment, and it just comes out, and then I'm left with the embarrassment. But I did want everybody to know that it's a very something you want to think about. If you choose to own a bird, there are a lot of responsibilities. They're very messy. They're very loud. When me and my wife try to get into an argument, he will overpower the argument with his own squealing and squawking. He does know how to cry very well. I mean, because, of everything that's happened in my life, there's been tears, and crying going on with my wife, or me crying, or us not getting along, or crying because whatever reasons why we're crying, he cries perfect. And he laughs perfect, as you can see that. Maybe I can get him to cry.
You gonna cry?
He's not gonna, and that's another thing he won't do. He will not do nothing on cue.
Really?
Anyway, his name is Phoenix, and I do love him a lot, even though he will not let me. He used to come on my arm and let me hold him. Like I could go in the cage, and I could stick my hand in there and put my hand in there and let him go on my arm like this. But through the years, I haven't spent that much time with him, and so now he will not have it. If I try to even put my hand in that cage, he will take a finger off. And that's another thing you got to worry about too. If you're going to have a bird and you got infants in the house, we waited till we got our children a little older. My mom, she raised birds for a living. And at one point she had about 10 or 12 good-sized birds like this and bigger. And then she had a lot of parakeets and a lot of small birds. But she chose to spend the most of her life raising birds and selling birds, and she loved birds with all her heart, and I love birds too, man. But it's like, before you get a bird, it's not just, I'm gonna go get a bird and that's gonna be it. There's a lot of things to take account for: their diet, their habits. They repeat everything they hear and say at their own will. They're not gonna, and it's just a complicated matter owning a bird. They're very high maintenance. You got to always clean their cage. You got to always make sure they have a consistent diet. You can't just go feed them anything, because it's very bad for them and very unhealthy for them. But and another thing, when he's molting, he's very cranky. Sometimes he chooses to. Sometimes he chooses to just be really arrogant, and he has his own brain of his own. But I just want to let everybody know that. I wanted everybody to know out there that if you just all of a sudden want to drop a hat, go get a bird, there's a lot of things that you need to do research on before you just go get the bird. And you got to make sure that whoever, because he's going to outlive you. I guarantee you this bird will outlive me and my wife by far. And he might live as long as to outlive my children. They're known for a very long age, and it's just something that you don't want to do. You don't want to get a bird and then decide, I don't want a bird, and then give him to somebody else, because that somebody else might put him in an environment that's not very healthy. So there's a lot of things to take in consideration when owning a bird. They're very awesome. They're they're a very powerful animal to own as far as they can hurt. They'll bite fingers off. They're always he's always a pain in my butt in the mornings, man. He always wakes me up with this squawking crap in the mornings and wants a peanut, you know, and it's like, if we run out of peanuts, God, don't let us run out of peanuts around here. He will squall and squawk. And if you get in arguments around this bird, like if me and my wife are trying to, not scream at each other, like if we're just, you know, sometimes we get emotionally involved with each other and we're raising our voice towards each other, that bird, or if I'm trying to discipline my son and I'm getting a little loud with him or loud music or anything, this bird will just, it's a blood curdling loud. I can't do it as loud as him. But anyway, his name's Phoenix, man. Say goodbye, Phoenix. See, you ain't even going to talk for me, are you? You're not even going to talk for me. Just quiet, huh? See what I'm saying? Complete quietness. Just because you get a bird, he's going to choose who he wants to be his master. It's not a simple thing of, oh, well, he's going to love everybody in the family and he's going to be respectful and you can teach him to do this and teach him to do that. A bird is very aggressive and he's also very loving, and he can give, you know, you and your family a lot of happiness, but as well they can hinder they can hinder you at times because, you know, you're wanting to talk on the phone. Like, you can't talk on the phone around him or anything, especially when my wife's around. You know, if my wife's trying to talk to somebody, she's got to leave the room because he wants to squawk and squall and want all the attention. He's very selfish with that. He doesn't want to give anybody a chance to talk or I love it when he cries. I think it's so funny. Come on, cry for me, man. Come on. See, he's not going to cry. But I think it's so funny when he cries. Anyway, I got to go, man, and see y'all later. Y'all be good, man. Late.